afternoon and welcome to the Midday News for Monday, July 6. I'm Antonia Atkinson. A special welcome to our viewers on TVJ International in the Cayman Islands and online at onespotmedia.com. Here's what we have in the bulletin. St. Catherine woman fined for attempted police bribery. Manchester Police Division received a donation of 200 DNA kits to strengthen criminal investigations. And later in sports, controversy surrounds the FIFA Club World Cup as the round of 16 actions continue. Thank you for joining us. Now the details. Dancehall artist Chronic Law, whose real name is given as Akeem Jermaine Campbell, is in police custody in the United States. According to reports, upon leaving an event in Miami yesterday, the 32-year-old, along with members of his entourage, were searched by federal agents. It is understood he is being held on a firearm-related charge. His management team has since issued a statement asking the public to allow the legal process to take its course. It's not the first time the artist is in run with the U.S. law enforcement. Earlier this year, he was held by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE, but was later released. A St. Catherine woman was fined Friday $300,000 or 30 days imprisonment after pleading guilty to attempting to bribe a policeman to prevent the prosecution of her son. 45-year-old Kadian Anton of Spanish Town admitted offering an office of $15,000 during a traffic stop involving her son on June 14. Her attorney told the court she acted out of stress and poor judgment and asked for leniency. The court imposed the fine but ordered that no conviction be recorded and that Anton's fingerprint not be taken. The Manchester Police Division has received a donation of 200 DNA kits to strengthen criminal investigations and help reduce delays in the justice system. The donation comes as Manchester continues to grapple with an increase in crime since the start of the year and has concerns were raised about shortage in the parish. Commanding officer for the Manchester Division, Deputy Superintendent Odin Dennis, welcomed the donation, describing it as a timely boost for investigators.
A significant step in the right direction towards the search for truth and the administration of justice in Manchester and the continued efforts of the police to live up to our mantra of being a force for good.
Chief of Police for the City of Lauderhill, Constable Constance Danley, says donating the kits in person made it more meaningful.
I'm happy to be here to do that. It's great to have the partnership that we have, and whatever we can do to assist, we'll be more than happy to continue that partnership.
Montego Bay is stepping up efforts to improve how it prepares and responds to flooding. Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, who was recently appointed to the Coastal Cities Coalition, outlined some of the steps being taken.
We are working with the Mayor's Migration Council, and the Mayor's Migration Council opened up a funding recently, which the City of Montego Bay applied for, and I'm optimistic about that grant funding. I will hear much more about it later on this year in about September. But if we get that funding, it will mean that we are going to be able to install our early warning systems across the flood-prone areas of the Catherine Hall, the Montego Bay Business District, and so forth.
Mayor Vernon is urging other local leaders to proactively seek support to strengthen high-risk areas from extreme weather events.
We need to take immediate action, which is adaptation. And the adaptation strategy that we are undertaking now is to ensure that the early warning system is in place, which will include an evacuation plan, the establishment of the zonal committees for the Montego Bay Business District, the areas that are along the Gully Embankment and the Montego River, because we have to know how to treat with a threat. Especially flooding. We have experienced two major flooding over the past 80 years. In 2018, we had the major flood in the Montego Bay Business District, and recently we had a major flood in the Catherine Hall and West Green areas.
Major drain cleaning work was carried out in sections of Port Moran and St. Thomas over the weekend. This follows severe flooding recently.
There's a lot being done in terms of accessory preparation. I know I have cleaned all the feeder drains, the other feeder drains in the Port Moran area feeding to the square, so that we can mitigate correctly or better for what transpired against what transpired the other day.
Meanwhile, some residents are expressing concerns about work being carried out on a nearby river. They fear it could leave the community more vulnerable to flooding during periods of heavy rain.
And we are trying to accomplish more than likely is to save the road, because you can see Curtis Bottom Road within the Spark program, where pipelines are being laid now. We wait for the second phase now to start mall, to do asphalt. So more than likely we are trying to ensure while we get in the road, we fix the road tomorrow, and based upon the condition of the river, where each time the rain fall, the river override it banks and damage the road. So what we do now is literally try to remove the river from the road completely.
Investing in education continues to be a priority for San Myrna Foundation, which has awarded scholarships to more than 15 students from St. Jude's Primary School and Balmaji Primary. The details in this report.
Students from St. Jude's Primary School and Balmaji Primary School were recognized for their hard work and dedication as they prepare to transition to high school. San Myrna Foundation Director Robert White said the scholarship program helps steer young people away from crime and violence by encouraging them to focus on education and building a bright future.
This $2 million that we give away today is not just for scholarships for students. Balmaji did very well in academics, very well in their sports area. So we ensure that the teacher that's in charge of sports been blessed. We give some of the scholarship to be spent in the area of academics and sports.
Project manager Paige Dixon highlighted the achievements of one scholarship recipient who is teaching robotics to students at schools across the island, describing the initiative as an important step in promoting STEM education among young Jamaicans.
He has been going to many schools and teaching robotics all over Jamaica. Some of his teams have gotten top place, first place in the robotics competitions worldwide. And that just shows the domino effect that scholarships and bursaries can have on individuals. Orville was just another primary school student who had great dreams and was very excelled in school. And now he's excelling in robotics. And without the scholarship, Orville many times would tell us that without the money, he didn't know how he'd go to school.
The San Myrna Foundation has supported students at Balmaji Primary School through its scholarship program for the past 10 years. This year, the foundation also extended the program to include students from St. Jude's Primary School. Aliyah Bryant, TVJ News.
We'll now take a break. More stories when we come back. Welcome back to the Midday News. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Consumers of general and life insurance services, which are already very expensive, must brace for even higher premium rates because the Financial Services Commission, which regulates general and life insurance companies, says they will have to pay $646.2 million more in fees. The FSC says these fees increases are necessary to close the gap in its budget, which is projected at $407 million this year, after Finance Minister Favour Williams withdrew $500 million from the agency. The FSC also stressed it will still be running a deficit of $186 million at the end of fiscal year 2027, despite a 44% increase in its revenues of $2.46 billion after the fee increases on the country's life and general insurance companies as well as securities dealers. Further afield, on Sunday, OPEC Plus announced it will increase oil production. This comes as ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz remains below what it was before the United States and Israel attacked Iran. The conflict started at the end of February. OPEC says it will raise its daily output by 188,000 barrels a day. This is the fifth time the cartel is raising its production since the war began. The oil market has faced major disruptions in recent months as the strait was effectively closed during most of the conflict. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Kadian Simpson.
Thank you, Kadian. Time now for the top stories from around the world.
In the region, leaders are being urged to move from talk to action as they meet for their 51st summit in St. Lucia. Delivering the feature address, St. Lucian scholar Raheem Augustine Joseph said regional integration is no longer optional but essential to the Caribbean's survival in a changing world. He called for faster implementation of free movement, greater food security, a regional strategy on artificial intelligence, and a stronger support for the Caribbean Court of Justice. He also urged leaders to match the ambition of young Caribbean people with bolder action. And on the international scene, Independence Day weekend turned deadly in several U.S. cities. A woman was killed and 8 people were injured in a shooting in Indiana. 8 others, including 4 children, were wounded in New York. A 19-year-old man was killed in a shooting at a Florida gathering. And in Memphis, a man was fatally shot by National Guard members after he allegedly pointed a handgun at them during a police chase. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Aaliyah Bryant.
Thank you, Alia. We now head to our final break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports reports.